Hello friends, it's Chrissy. Welcome to or back to my channel. And today I'm going back to my roots a little bit. When I was watching the Deserted Island deck video that Meg of Rose Honey Ritual posted, I got really excited about the book that she chose for her one book to last her for a year. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you can go to her video. I'm going to link that down below if you're interested. I ordered that book and it is on the truck for delivery today. Woohoo! So I'm excited about that. But it really got me thinking about, so I'm at this point uh, post-acute pandemic, I guess, where I'm looking at what pieces of myself have, I'm going to use the term dissipated over the last couple of years. And part of that you all may not know. Most of you have followed me recently, so you may not know my history. For the last, oh my gosh, friends, decade, maybe, at least pre-pandemic, I was really all about yoga. I practiced every day for over 1,000 days. I became a yoga teacher. I was teaching 5 classes or so a week in studio. I had an online studio. I was teaching several classes a week at my Muggle job at the time. It was a big part of who I was. And then the pandemic came and I stopped teaching and going to studio classes. I got really disenchanted and was eventually laid off from my Muggle job, which left another not so great taste in my mouth. The not so great taste in my mouth with that job kind of bled over to yoga since it was such a part of what I did there. So I'm looking to, my birthday is in November, and my plan is to have a reinvigorated practice of some sort by November, so that on my birthday, when I turn 45, I can restart my 20-minute daily practice. So I decided to pull out all of the things that, all of my little tools that I love so much, to kind of rebuild my sacred space for yoga. Again, at this point, I have no, I'm not making any goals, I'm not making any statements, but I am just pulling all of my resources into one place, putting them on what used to be my yoga table, which is now the home for my singing bowl, my quartz bowl, and hope that the opposite, so out of sight, out of mind, hoping that insight in mind is the truth. So today I'm just going to show you the cards and the books that I'm bringing back into my personal space. And let's do books first. So the first one I've actually started reading again is One Simple Thing, A New Look at the Science of Yoga and How It Can Transform Your Life by Eddie Stern. This book is, I actually read it during the pandemic. It's relatively new, I think. So 2019. It's just a very, this is such a great book. It really touches on the sutras and how yoga impacts the vagus nerve. It's this wonderful balance of being philosophical and scientific and experiential. As you can see, I've read it before with a pencil through the first time with all of these notes. This is at some point what I wanted my my daily routine to look like. Yeah, there's notes everywhere. So yeah, I'm excited to come back to this really nice overview of philosophy and reminding me why it is good for me. So this is just going to be on my table. Another thing that that I've received since I kind of abandoned my practice is Asana Pranayama Mudra Bandha. My friend Sarah actually brought this back from India to me, and it splits, and it is I just saw 3 hours of practice. There's space here for me to, this book is gonna fall apart, isn't it? Oh, it's gonna be great. Yeah, there's just, it just split on me. There are, this is gonna be logistically a fun read, but there are pranayama practices, which is probably honestly where I will start. I just love that it is, it's a disaster. Oh, and we have mudras in here too. The book, like I said, the book is falling apart. Let's see if I can, I'll have to play with that later. It is stained. It doesn't smell great. I'm actually going to go ahead and break this so it doesn't. There we go. Yeah, I'm excited to spend time with this book because it was a gift and because it came physically from India. The third book that I'm going to bring out and leave on my sacred table is Curvy Yoga by Anna Gelly. I was incredibly lucky to have received my certification directly from Anna. There aren't many cohorts. There aren't many of us that she actually trained in person, but I was one of her classes that came to Nashville and trained. Oh my gosh, I love Anna so much. And trained in her Curvy Yoga studio in East Nashville, which was just a few weeks in early March of 2020, just prior to the pandemic. The house that once held the studio that used to hold a florist shop after that, the house was destroyed by a tornado. I love that maybe the last third of this book is actual practices. There's my Anna. But you know, the first 150 pages or so is her story and practices that she encourages to experience as this is just a great balance of memoir and philosophy and practice. And I'm very excited to spend time with Anna. So this is actually the studio that I trained in. This is a class there. This isn't you know, this is the class that she trained or anything, but my spot was either here under this window or back here on this side of the staircase. You can probably hear me smiling as I talk about it. But I love Anna, and I love the way that she taught me to teach. And I know that so much about how I experience Reiki and how I am as a therapist and how I physically practice yoga and how I teach yoga is because of who Anna Gelly challenged me to be. So while we're in the Anna Gelly mode, please, books don't fall. I'll go ahead and show you the first set of cards that I'm going to talk about. And this is my Curvy Yoga deck. These are beautiful line drawings of my dear sweet Anna. These are also the the drawings that were in our teacher manual. So that also brings a lot of warmth that way. So each card has the name of the pose on one side, and the other side has the shape and a mantra. So we have legs up the wall with may I welcome new perspectives. This is my favorite. May I soften when life invites me to harden, the Sphinx pose. May I root down to rise up. May I follow what feels good with extended big toe, reclined big toe, stoop to Patagon. It's been a long time. I'm not even going to try. The Sanskrit is very, very rusty in my mouth. I can feel it, but I'm curious. I'm sure it's in here. When we were studying for our exam, one of the shapes, oh my gosh, I love gates so much. Is it not in here? Aha. So, pinwheel. A friend of mine would always call it bad vagina because that's what it looked like. So every time I taught pinwheel, I would laugh and think of bad vagina. May I greet my body with gentleness. May I flow with the seasons of my life. May my practice be a sanctuary. I'm going to leave that one on top. So I don't know that if this is available. My copy has been all over the place. It's been outside. I used to bring this to class, and as each student came in, they would pick a pose that they wanted to practice. And then it was my job during the opening meditation to lay those cards out in front of me and make somewhat coherent of a sequence. That was always my favorite. When I got bored, it was like, all right, everybody pick a card, and Chrissy's gonna make it make sense. And I miss teaching a lot. There is no feeling in the world like having everyone forward fold and exhale at the same time. Like, I think about it and I still get chills. You know, I mentioned briefly that the studio where I trained no longer exists. I lost a lot of important places to me during the pandemic. Like I said, right before the building that used to be the Curvy Yoga studio was destroyed by a tornado. The bed and breakfast in Asheville that my husband and I went to at least once, if not several times a year for 15 years, was destroyed by fire. And the yoga studio I was teaching at prior to the pandemic was torn down for new development. So, yeah. I have a weird thing now at getting attached to places, but we're going to keep talking about decks. The next one I want to talk about is probably the one that comes to mind for most people, the Yogic Path. I worked with this deck some, but I haven't a lot. I do have, of course, the guidebook that comes with it. The backs are stunning. I don't know that I will work with it. It's not, I feel like this is who I was when I first started reading cards. As far as visually, this feels very, work your light and Star Child. Is that right? Moon Child. Those two. The other ones from, oh my gosh, I totally lost her name. Danielle Noel, right? Yeah, I will have this deck because it's beautiful. But I will always have it. But I don't know that it's one that I will necessarily work with, but I'll have it on my table in case I want to move in that direction. I have ordered the, oh my gosh, what's the name of the deck? And I'm on my phone, so I can't look. The Sacred Yoginis, the big one in the yellow box. I have ordered that. It won't be here for about a month or so, but it'll be a nice birthday present for me. I really enjoy this deck. This is the 8 Limbs of Yoga from Om Matters. This is, let's see, 30 cards, how to practice the 8 limbs of yoga each day. Yeah, made with recycled products, etc., etc. This deck is really nice. They're attached to the 8 limbs of yoga. Each limb has its own cards, or its own image, so not every card is different. The pranayama cards are all the same on the front, but have different practices on the back. Again, the asana, the yamas, the dharanas. We have the niyamas. Wow, these really smell like incense. I think I had these, so strangely enough, my friend who brought me the deck from India, I just recently gave her all of my incense because it aggravates Albus's allergies. And I think this deck may have been sitting propped up on a huge box of incense because it smells really good. Anyway, what I love about this deck is you can draw a card. So this is Santosha, or contentment. And then you have some information about the other niyamas, and then a way to practice Santosha. So write down a list of things you're thankful for. Do this each morning and notice the effect it has on your day. Yeah, this is, I enjoy this deck for just a quick thought. That also includes options for physical practices, for breath work, and for asana. And this is the card that should go on top. It wasn't there initially, but when I put it in the way it's supposed to go, you'll notice, if I can get it in, how beautifully this lines up in the middle of the mandala. So I don't know if this is still in print. The website is om-matters.com. And it accidentally smells really good. I also have the Inner Path Yoga Philosophy Practice Deck. This is from the Mystic Yogi. There's a period between each word on Instagram, and it's the mysticyogi.com. Again, I haven't checked to see if this deck is still available. This feels like a nice almost combination of the Limbs deck and the Yogic Path, where we have the image, we have the philosophical term, and then we have a thought, whether it's a mantra, again, I don't know how much this deck is, I don't know, like part of me is like, I love this deck. I love Dharana so much. This card is the reason that I bought this deck. I think it's so full. I love it. F-O-O-L. It's so much like the full. So yeah, this is another one that I will sit. I also really like this one of the koshas. This will sit on my table. If I don't use it, it's fine. Ananda's really beautiful as well. Yeah, I see myself maybe intentionally choosing one of these one a week to be, to be a focus card on my yoga table or something. How Chariot is Pratyahara. Take the reins of your senses, reclaim your energy, and tune into the subtle currents of your body and mind. Yep, that's I think of the chariot as like how we get out of our own way, and noticing what actions, what thoughts we're doing how our actions and our thoughts and how we're directing our effort and our thought are impact our momentum. So this whole reclaim your energy and tune in to the subtlety, that really speaks to the chariot for me. So yeah, this is the Inner Path Yoga Philosophy Practice deck. And then probably the most simple and also my favorite yoga deck, there's something stuck here to the side, is the Essential Yoga Sutras. This is from Rhea Robinson Yoga and the essentialyogasutra.com. Again, this is 2019. I've probably had this since 2019, so I don't know if it is still in print. The box feels like it was hand folded. The cards are just paper. I'm hesitant to get it out because I love this deck so much. Come on, buddy. If you just pull on the sides, the bottom card will fall out. And this deck is very simple. It has the Yoga Sutras in Sanskrit with the translation and a question. There are leaves on the back, on the card. They repeat. It's not a different plant on each card. It is paper, just straight paper. There's no coating on this at all. But part of the respect to this deck is shuffling it carefully. It's like a linen cardstock with no coating. The only way I know how to explain it. The cards feel, the cardstock is linen-ish. It's got the texture, but these would absolutely bend and crease. Misperception is the source of egoism, attachment, aversion, and fear. Who are you without your thoughts? Power and vitality come to those who use their sexual energy wisely. What is your understanding of the relationship between sex, love, and commitment? Fear of death or loss is deeply rooted and also a cause of pain. What happens if you align with your fears? What happens if you align with what you treasure? There are 5 changing states of mind, which are either painful or not. What destructive patterns do you need to release? What habits have brought you the most fulfillment? I need to put these all right side up. Through committed discipline, we bring perfection and mastery to the body and senses. List 3 habits that no longer serve you. What is the first step of enacting change here? I love that the question here isn't what can you do, but what can you stop doing? Thinking about taking habits away instead of adding them on is just a lovely thought. And finally, all hostilities cease in one who has mastered nonviolence. Consider the more subtle forms of violence, such as judgment or flippantly wishing harm to another. How can you express your anger or frustration without attacking or becoming defensive? There was a time, just slightly pre-pandemic, when I would start each of my practices with a card from the Curvy Yoga deck and a card from this deck, and just play with creating a personal practice in the moment that brought the mantra, the pose, and the sutra together. And I miss that. I consider myself very, very lucky that I have dozens upon dozens upon dozens of my own classes on recorded video that I will be able to just go back and practice with myself to remind myself of my style. I also belong to the Curvy Yoga Studio online, so I can at any point practice with Anna. I have 5, maybe 6 teachings on that app as well. So I love the concept, that the possibility of being able to practice with myself as teacher. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, these are the tools that I'm just bringing to my sacred table to remind myself why I love this practice, how this practice causes me to see and love myself differently, and I'm excited to get back. So thank you for bearing witness. This yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for bearing witness of this very, very important piece of my past that I am just unbelievably ready to bring back into my present, but easing my way in so that a little more than a month from now, I'll be ready to evaluate the feasibility of another long-term daily commitment. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for letting me share Chrissy that you don't know necessarily. If you're interested in recordings of classes that I used to teach, let me know and I'll send you a couple. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.